Hello, everyone, and welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up, the show that we occasionally forget to do.
we didn't forget. Wait, what happened last week? Oh, that's right.
We were
I
like,
had to do work stuff like at the last minute.
yeah, like
That was
there
my
was,
fault.
like you were busy on Thursday, and you were like, can you do it on Friday or Saturday? And I was like, yes. And then on Sunday...
Yeah, that's right. And then we forgot. You're right. We didn't forget at first. We remembered, you guys. We remembered. But we forgot immediately after.
For a very brief moment, we remembered.
Yeah, that's right. We had a pretty full show too, man.
I mean, I feel like, we had a huge show last week. We had like Heroes of the Dorm. We had Steam mods are gone again already. We had devs banning Steam users. We had Silent Hills being canceled. None of that matters anymore. That's old news.
That's all old. No one cares about that
everyone that's
stuff.
listening to this already knows everything there is to know about all of that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So fuck it.
And then like very little happened this week.
Yeah. Yeah. So we may end up discussing several of those topics.
That's
But it
how
doesn't
it works
matter.
sometimes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. World of Warcraft is dead. It doesn't matter.
Shh.
Oh,
I told you I didn't want to talk about that.
Fine. So yes. Where do we even start today? Speaking of things being dead, and by which I mean speaking of things not actually being dead at all, I was lying.
Oh, this is the worst transition ever already.
Where did you think I was going with this?
Oh wait, which story are you going into?
I was telling the story of Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He like came back and stuff.
Right.
And speaking of Jesus, Star Wars, this dude got harassed by people. I don't know how that connects at all, but we'll go with it.
Jesus was a Jedi.
He was a Jedi, yeah. He could like walk on water and use a lightsaber and shit.
Yep.
Yeah. The Book of Yoda, it was great.
Yoda 3 for 13.
Yeah. For God so loved doing awesome backflips that he sent his only begotten son and a squadron of TIE fighters.
He did.
We're going to get angry letters from that one Baptist church in the South that hates everything. I forget the name of it.
I hope so. That's how you know you made it.
Yeah, like that's like
And that's how you know we have to stop the show.
Yeah, hell no. That's major positive marketing at that point. As soon as those... I forget the name of that church, but as soon as they target somebody, everyone's like, we've got to support them. So one day, we too can be a statistic.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. For some reason, I can't think of the name either, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
They like protest
They who shall not be
funerals
named.
and stuff.
Yep. But some serious ridiculousness happened.
Speaking of not jokes at all. No, okay. So you know more about... I'm only vaguely aware of this. So
Sure.
You know more about this. Go for it.
This is so one of the developers who works on the I guess on the combat team specifically, he made a couple of posts communicating to on the forums, just hey, so we know that Sentinels and Marauders are not up to a standard, but we want to know where your heads are at, so we kind of figure out if we're in the right space, because we don't want to go and make decisions that are gonna make things worse, kind of thing. These are things that every game community at some point, like community managers, there's always an outreach. It's like, hey, so let us know what you think. Give us your feedback. You know?
Well, and like that's always a good thing when a game developer says, actually, we're not entirely sure that we're doing the right thing. So if you guys could let us know, that'd be great, because that then means like this is a direct outreach to say, hey, help us out here. Let us make the game that you want. So this is a good thing.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read the original post. I don't even know if it exists anymore. I didn't go looking for it because, frankly, it's irrelevant. But, they what ended up happening was couple players actually went and started digging through. Yeah, they basically like doxed him basically. Because as a community manager, typically you're not very difficult to dig up information on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Google proof.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Searching lore is very difficult, and Josh Allen isn't exactly the most.
Josh Allen is actually less descriptive than searching lore. You get a guy who won So You Think You Can Dance, and you get like a linebacker, and that's it. And eventually me.
But here's the thing, though. It's like, unless you're like off social media altogether, like it's fairly easy to find people.
Yeah, which is no one, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got an accounts, even if they don't use it.
Yeah.
So it's usually, if they have friends, usually there's a friend that's messing up, and they're not putting their friends list private to public. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to find people, basically. And so that's what ended up happening. They went and they dug through this guy's. I guess they went through Facebook or something like that, and they started actually sending. Let me see. Following the post that John made yesterday, a few players formed a witch hunt against him. These players tracked him down on some personal accounts, and in some extreme cases, even those of his family members, with the sole purpose of harassing, insulting, and threatening him based on these forum posts. That is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, like, what do you think you're gonna gain from this? Like, oh, we've made this guy feel bad about himself, so clearly he'll buff Sentinels now. What? No, he's gonna go home and exactly nothing will get done, is what's going to happen as a result of this.
And the thing that sucks is, like, there's way more people that, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, there's way more people that think this is a dumb idea and it's something that nobody should ever do.
Yeah,
than these guys. I mean, these are like, one or two people or something that went out and they did this because they were upset about the status of their characters in a game, right? Regardless of the state of the game, nobody cares, right? All of that stuff is completely irrelevant. Like it's they felt so strongly about their character class and how it was being handled by this combat team that they felt the need to take it like to the next level and go to their to their friends and family or whatever. And I don't know. I have no idea what they did, but if anybody reached out to my wife about stuff that I did at work, like I would lose it. I would completely lose it.
Yeah. Like, there are lines that you do not cross, internet.
Yeah, right? If you got beef, it's with me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, the amount of times that I say things that are extremely I'm a community manager for World of Warcraft, for fuck's sake. I'm going to say things that people don't like. Yep. Like, that's going to happen. There's a lot of people playing World of Warcraft, and there are going to be differences of opinion. So when I say things like, just earlier today, I was posting about how the 1 minute PvP trinket, or excuse me, 2 minute PvP trinkets in World of Warcraft are getting nerfed down to 1 minute. And that is, in a way, a sort of indirect nerf to the human racial, which everybody's been very upset about because it's so strong. Like, okay, there were a few people that were very upset about that. If I started getting, like, phone calls and, like, letters in the mail and people showing up at my door to yell at me about the human racial, I would be calling the police. This is like, there's a distinction between what I do at work and what I do in my personal life, and there should remain that sort of separation. There has to be in community, because you're so, like, involved with people on a constant basis. And I get all the complaints, I certainly do. But yeah, like, this sort of thing, this is the sort of thing that when it happens, I'm always, like, a little bit scared myself, because I know that I'm the sort of person that's going to be a prime target for such things. And it's actually happened to people on my team in the past. During the Real ID thing ages ago, there was someone on my team who ended up, like, fortunately nothing actually very bad happened to him as a result of it. But people were able to dig up, like, old addresses of his, and, like, things got sent to old addresses, and then, like, the mail was forwarded on and stuff like that. which is mildly terrifying when you consider the number and amount of people and the type of people that can then get access to that information. Yeah. So it's concerning for sure.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, we're obviously preaching to the choir here. I mean, nobody that's listening to this is thinking.
If you listen to this podcast, those guys you're probably a decent person.
Yeah, right. They're not like, oh, I would have done the same thing. I would have gone right to his dad and told him how shitty he raised his son.
How much of a disappointment he is.
I know. It's just stuff like this when stuff like this happens, and it happens in like everything. I feel like it happens all the time. Anytime somebody disagrees with somebody else, like a group, right? That somebody ends up doxing them or doing something that they take it too far.
Yeah, and I think that Eric Musco, who's the guy that posted this on the SWTOR forums, he makes a very great point a little bit later in his post, which is that, okay, if we as a development team are giving our thoughts and our insights, I apparently have all of the burps right now. If we're giving our thoughts and our insights as a development team and we're trying to at least tell you what we're thinking and your result of that is harassment, then we're just going to stop telling you what we're thinking. We will just not talk about things, and you can just sit there in the dark and know nothing, and that's really not a step forward for anyone involved here. It makes the game worse, it makes your experience worse, it makes everything worse. So if you really want everything to be worse, then I guess go for it, but yeah.
Kind of puts them in like a weird position too, because people that go out of their way to do things, and we don't know what they did, but like still, you never know with some people like how to, like it's so. So somebody, a guy came to my house, right, unannounced. He's a fan of my stuff, right? Totally freaked out my wife. Freaked me out a little bit. I was just like, I understood why he did it. It still didn't make it right. It didn't make it right, I don't know him. I don't even know who he is online. Like it wasn't like, if Theme or Emojo or Squish or somebody like that like showed up, It was like somebody I actually do not know or recognize the name of. And afterwards it's like, okay, well, do I tell him to like never do that again? Like cut that out? Because I don't know who this person is. He's an anonymous person to me. Yeah, sure, I met him face to face unannounced, but it doesn't mean anything. Like what if he is like crazy and he's gonna be like, hey, you don't want to see me anymore? Well, guess what? I'm gonna do evil things to you or something. I have no idea. And like that's the same thing here. It's like I'm reading the comments and they're like, oh, ban their account. It's like, what? I would seriously be considering not banning their accounts to prevent any further harassment.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what to do. You have no idea what to do because you don't know these people. And if they're willing to take it to that next step, you don't know where the line is for them. Because it's clearly not in a sane in a nominal area. It's not there.
Wherever the line is, it falls somewhere beyond showing up at your house unannounced.
Yeah. And exactly. And same thing with these guys. It's like I wouldn't ban their accounts because you're not doing anything but potentially putting yourself in even more danger.
Yeah, and I mean when you really think about it, like what these players are guilty of, aside from harassment, which is a terrible thing, but it was something that was stemmed potentially out of something as little as they were just very passionate about the game and thought that this was the best way to get their point across. And again, we don't know exactly what they did. If they like threatened personal bodily harm, that's something else entirely. But if it was just a matter of like, oh, we got a hold of your phone number and we called you on your cell phone all day and it was really creepy and weird, then like, okay, yeah, they're upset about the state of the game, and being upset about a game is always an understandable thing. Like people are going to always have differences of opinion in terms of how things should work. So I think immediately jumping to ban their accounts because they did a mean thing, like if I banned everyone in World of Warcraft who called me names based on something that I said, there would be a lot fewer players in World of Warcraft. That's actually what the earnings call it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that would be a fruitless endeavor. Basically, is where I'm going with that. So I don't think that immediately jumping to the point of like publicly shaming these individuals is particularly a good idea. A, because their crime is being passionate about the game, also harassment, but their initial crime is being passionate about the game. But then also like you were saying, like you don't know what the follow up is from there. If you ban them from posting in the forums, if you ban them from playing the game, like is their response then going to be, well, now that I don't have access to these methods of interaction, my only option is to show up and watch you while you're at the coffee shop or something like that.
Oh,
so
God.
I actually I had somebody, fortunately this was after I'd moved to California, but somebody said, yeah, I found out Laura's address once and I drove by his house, it looked okay. And I was like, what? Like they were saying this on Twitter. And fortunately for me, I used a P.O. box when I was still living in Michigan as my public address, and also as the address that I registered for all of my domain names, because that was something you could still do at the time. So I had a P.O. box for all of that. So it's entirely likely that they drove past a FedEx and thought it was my address for some reason.
It looks all right.
Yeah.
Kind of strip mall-ish, but yeah.
At least he lived right next to the Coney Island hot dogs place, so that's pretty good. But B, now that I live in SoCal, like it's actually ideal out here to move constantly, because if you stay in the same place, they jack up your rent constantly.
Oh yeah.
So it's ideal to move pretty much every year. And I've actually moved a little bit more regularly than that. So just as an advisory, if anyone does manage to actually get a hold of what they think is my address, I probably don't live there anymore. So good luck. But yeah, like that's terrifying. Like I didn't even live in Michigan anymore, and I got this tweet where someone was like, yeah, I drove past his house, and I was like, holy shit, what? I feel a little bit violated by that. Like some rando Calrissian on the internet manages to find, you like that, rando Calrissian? I'm very proud of that, so I had to point it out. He managed to find me and drive past my house. This is America. He could have owned an automatic rifle. Who knows what could have happened? So, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So if you know people that do that kind of stuff, don't do that.
Yeah.
Tell them not to. Tell them that's dumb.
Yeah. Call them nerds.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Because that'll stop it.
Speaking of nerds.
So speaking of nerds, by which I mean speaking of the small candy that is delicious, by which I mean speaking of things that you haven't really heard much of since the 90s, by which I mean speaking of the Wachowski brothers.
Wow.
You like that one?
Yeah, that was good. Good. That's definitely top 10 material right there.
Nice. So is it Wachowski? Mike Wazowski?
Just say Mike Wazowski, yeah.
The Mike Wazowski brothers. They're doing a new thing on Netflix. They have a new series coming out on Netflix. So these are the guys that were behind the Matrix movie, of which there was one ever.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes.
Come on.
There was one Matrix movie. And then there were a couple of annoying spin-offs that weren't as good. But there was The Matrix, and then there was The Matrix Doesn't Matter. But there was The Matrix. But they're doing a new thing. They've got, what is it called? Like, something 8?
Sense8.
Sense8. And it's apparently, like, I was watching the trailer earlier, and by watching, I literally mean watching, because I didn't have my audio at the time, which was entirely my own fault. I was just being lazy, and I didn't feel like putting my earbuds in at work. But I was watching the trailer, and it seems like it's something along the lines of, like, 8 people in different cities suddenly are able to, like, sense each other and help each other and, like, I don't know, jerk each other off. I don't really know where they're going with this thing, but
That would be interesting.
yeah.
Actually, no, that would not be interesting.
Well, you say that.
So I know. So the beginning of the trailer, some guy is asking another dude. He's all like, "Oh, hey, like, do you want to be part of the Sensei program or something like that?" I only watched the trailer once, so I don't know exactly what he said. But
he's like, "Do you know what it means to be?"
I
I watched the first 10 seconds of it later. He's like, "Do you know what it means to be Sense8?"
Oh, right, yeah. So is that I didn't know if that was somebody who was like bringing into the circle or something. I have no idea, but it's the entire time it's like, so the thing is, all these people are linked and they lay it flat. There's no secrets. It's they share each other's knowledge, they share each other's skills and training. So they have each other's linguist abilities. So like whatever languages they speak, then now they speak it too. And these are people from all over the world. And the first thing that crossed my mind was, are they all gonna have to kill each other and the last one standing is like super powerful or something? Like, is this like a Jet Li the One? Like, is that what's gonna happen here? Because
fucking Highlander shit.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Like, oh yeah. But
there can be only none.
But the look and feel of the actual like cinematography and the story seems interesting. Like, it's one of those things that's like, okay, yeah, there's something here that could be pretty interesting. But the look and feel of it is also it looks good. Looks really good.
Yeah.
All of these like high budget series that we're seeing. I don't know if it's just the high budget or if it's just they really know how to get really good like direct photography and
seriously though, like Netflix has been knocking it out of the park lately. Like, you think about what are the Netflix original series that have come out, and every single one that you can think of is awesome. Like, there's House of Cards, there's Orange is the New Black, there's Daredevil, which yep. I haven't actually watched it yet, but I've heard so much good things about it that I'm willing to go ahead and say it's good. And now this new thing with the Mike Wachowski brothers, like. We've talked a lot in the past about what's the future of TV and so on, and I think this is the direction. Like, even is it Hulu or Netflix that has the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's one or the other. But Hulu has their own original series now too. But like, there's just so much good content that's coming out from freaking Netflix, which started, by the way, as a sign up for our thing and we'll mail you DVDs.
Yep. I think you can still do that, by the way.
You probably still can.
I think that's still an option.
Yeah.
But
no one does it, I'm sure.
But yeah, and in we're even with shows like Community going to Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yahoo's not someone you would think, oh yeah, I'll watch a TV series there. Now, granted, Community was dumped basically by NBC, I think. So it wasn't like they're gonna get picked up by anybody on TV. But still, it's a relatively successful series that is now sitting on Yahoo.
And I think
the last place I would expect to see it.
Yeah. Just as an aside, wait, Yahoo still exists? I remember using Yahoo when I was 10.
Alta Vista's got its own series too coming.
And Dogpile. Man, remember? As an aside, do you remember Dogpile? Did you ever use that?
I never used it.
It was the search engine that all it did was search other search engines for you. And it was amazing because it would search like 5 to 10 different search engines and then tabulate all of their results and then list you results based on what the other search engines' results were.
Wow. When does this thing launch?
This is a world pre-Google. This is before Google really did anything. And then at some point Google came onto the scene and everyone was like, "Oh, you mean they weight your search results based on the popularity of the page? No one's ever thought of this before." And then every other search engine cried itself to sleep.
Oh, Alta Vista. I didn't realize
Alta
it was
Vista
down.
not exist anymore? Yeah.
No, it does not. Alta Vista was what I was using back in the early or mid 90s.
I used to ping back and forth between Yahoo and Alta Vista. I'd be like, Yahoo's the best. I'm going to use Yahoo. Fuck Yahoo. I'm going to use Alta Vista. Alta Vista's the best. Actually, I think Yahoo was better. Wait, Alta Vista.
There was a, not torrent, it was just a Wares site, which before torrents, it was just called Wares because it was software.
Remember when stuff was there to download just off of websites?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's what it was. And that was like where's, it's like download this. Here's a text file with like the serial key. Have a nice day, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right? Super easy. But there was a site that was like Alta La Vista or something like that.
Yeah,
It was like Hasta La Vista, but it was like Alta La Vista, and it
Alta
was
La
just
Vista,
a
yeah.
straight like just any software you want. Here, just
Yeah.
download it. Have a blast.
We here at Don't Get Your Hopes Up will never condone the piracy of software.
I think it's beyond the statute of limitations, though. The 90s, the downloading from there.
The 90s, yeah, they don't exist anymore. Ever since we downloaded that car.
Oh man. Yeah, internet in the 90s. You know what I was thinking today? It's just as an aside.
As an aside
to
about
keep,
the 90s.
Keep going off to the side here.
Yeah.
I was thinking what it was like life before being able to search for anything you wanted to.
Oh my god.
And
Every time, go ahead.
The best case I could make, like in terms of like you kids don't know what it's like to not be able to search for shit,
Yeah.
is I did not know. I don't know. I must have been like, given the house we were in, I must have been like 11 years old or 12. I did not know what the word masturbation meant. I had heard it because so we used to watch a lot of like BET or Comic View, which is also BET, but like just basically stand-up comedy in the evenings, and they'd make a lot of just adult jokes, right? And masturbation came up, and I would laugh, and I didn't get it, and so I was like, I don't know what this word means. And so my dad's out in the garage, and I'm about to go like brush my teeth. I vividly remember this because I was like scarred. And I said, Mom, what's masturbation mean? And she just kind of looked at me, and she's like, and her eyes got really big, and she goes, I think you should ask your father. And right then, I knew exactly what it meant. All the jokes like came crashing into my brain, and it was just like, oh my God, I know exactly what it means. I'm gonna go brush my teeth now and then probably hang myself.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
As soon as the answer to anything is you should ask your father, then you don't need to ask.
I never asked. I just I was completely done. So yes, that is my best example of a situation where y'all kids don't know what it was like to grow up without.
Yeah. Mine was the word fellatio. I didn't know what it meant, and I had a very sheltered childhood. My parents were very, very religious. I was homeschooled. I just generally didn't get to spend much time around people when I was a kid, and I didn't know what fellatio meant. And all of my friends knew that I wouldn't know what fellatio meant, so they came like,
oh no!
A friend of mine, he came up to me and was like, hey Josh, do you know what fellatio is? And I was like, is that like some Italian guy?
It's an artist of some sort?
Yeah. Like,
Fellatio, Da Vinci,
it's Joey Fellatio. Yeah. Yeah, and so then I found out what it meant, and I was like, oh.
Yes, exactly. Discovery, realization, and regret.
Yeah. I have one other internet from the 90s joke. Well, joke. It's a joke because everyone's going to laugh at it because of how silly it is. But it wasn't a joke at the time. Do you remember when websites were so slow to load that by the time you finally got them to load, you thought to yourself, I should print this out so it's easier to get to later.
I would print it out so that way I could go load something else and read the site.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was really, really into the Mega Man series when I was a kid. And I had found this website through Yahoo, of course, that was like bios on all of the Robot Masters from from the Mega Man series. Mm-hmm. Separated out by game.
Bios, like they had a story.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, it's Skull Man. He's known for having skulls. It's Metal Man. He has metal, and his level is really hard, but actually it's the one that you should do the first. And it's Speed Man. His level is actually really hard. Seriously, don't do this. Go get Gemini Man's power first. I'm very pleased at myself that I remember that. But I found this website that had all of these like big long bios like listed out by game, and I was like, "Oh, this is the most amazing repository of information. Thank you, the internet. I love you." And so I printed them all out, and it was like 14 pages each. But like this was 1990s printing technology, so the images would like get cut off between each page, and they had like little pictures of each of all the robot masters. So I went through all of the trouble of like cutting out the like trimming off the extra pieces of paper. This was one of those printers, by the way, that had the like constant sheet of paper.
Oh, the perforated,
the perforated edges. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a dot matrix, like a feed.
Yep. So I had one of those.
Wow.
But because it was cutting off in between the pages, like I actually had to go through and remove all the edges, like cut things down a little bit, and then I like taped all of them together so that each page I had this like giant scroll of. I'm making the scroll motion with my arms right now of each Mega Man game. And I kept them all under my bed because I was afraid that my parents would find out about Skull Man.
Wait, you kept it rolled up?
Yeah, like rolled up like a scroll.
Oh god.
Because I didn't want to fold it. Who folds paper?
I know. Who folds like actual shit? Oh my god. That is. I mean, I'm just imagining you having to look something up and busting out the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
And just unraveling them, and then like going through. Okay, quick man. Here we go. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right, Guts Man. I need to know everything there is to know about Guts Man. I need to know his weakness. I need to know his power. I need to know his trivia, because that's important.
Guts Man was 1.
Yeah, he was the first one.
Was Mega Man 1.
It was Guts Man, it was Cut Man, it was Bomb Man, and a couple others who I don't remember off the top of my head. I actually think there was only 4 in the first one.
Yeah, there was. Was it 4 or was it 6? I can't remember. There was
Snake
definitely
Man?
less than there was in 2. I played more of 2 and 3. In 2 it was Wood, Bubble, Quick, Flash, Freeze, Air, Metal, and that's 7. I'm missing 1.
Mega Man 2, yeah, it was Metal Man, Quick Man, Gemini Man.
Gemini Man, that's right.
Was it Gemini Man? Okay, yeah.
Which didn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then in the next one, there was Libra Man and Capricorn Man. And... Oh, it was Iceman and Fireman and Elec Man are the ones that I'm missing from Mega Man 1. Man, the Mega Man games were so good. What is the Mighty Number 9? Is that the...
Yeah, that's coming out here in a few months, I think, or towards the end of this year.
I'm so excited for Mighty Number 9.
It's got actual launch date.
Nice. 2015,
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10, not X, right? Mega Man 9, right? Was it 9 or 8 and 9? I can't remember. But anyways, it's the retro like throwback to Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Those are out and they are plenty hard to play through. There's lots of hours of gameplay there if you are down with punishing yourself and knowing what it's like to play the originals. This one looks a lot more like X.
It actually, to me, it looks like the Mega Man Zero series that was on Game Boy Advance. And my God, those games were good. They were so good. They were so ridiculously hard, too, especially playing it from an actual GBA. But, oh my God, they were good.
Yeah, wow. When does it come out? Mighty Number 9. See,
it just says 2015 on this thing.
I could have swore they said they had a date. Release dates. PlayStation 4, 3DS, PlayStation Vita, more. Jesus.
Just says
it
2015.
just says 2015. Oh, I thought they had a date. Damn.
Well,
maybe they said end of this year or something like that. Okay.
Oh, there's an FAQ on the website that says the game is planned for an April 2015 launch.
Okay,
so
well, that's so that's not happening.
so basically anytime.
Coming soon.
I am so excited about this game.
Yeah,
really.
it's like it's totally a mix. It's totally a mix. It looks like an original, like a retro, but just updated graphics because of the character sizes and everything.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll
oh, September is in
thank
their
you.
like top blog thing. They're teaming up with Deep Silver to release Mighty Number 9 in September.
It's gonna be on consoles and everything. God, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm so stoked for this.
I'm watching the trailer right now, not paying attention to anything else.
Yeah, no, it's good. And if you've never played the Mega Man Zero series, you really should. They're so good. Also, by the way, as a side note, remember Mega Man Legends? The weird
the like Mario
person-
64 style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never played it, but
I played the first one on PS1, and it was actually really good.
really?
Yeah, I actually really liked it. It was like Tomb Raider, but Mega Man.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And like actually better. Like the controls made sense. The weird thing about it, I say the controls make sense. They actually didn't make any sense at all. The weird thing about it was, it was before the days of DualShock, so you didn't have any analog sticks, and so the way that it worked was your D-pad was strafe, basically, like forward, backward, and strafe left and right. And if you wanted to turn, you used the shoulder buttons. And that was a little bit weird. It felt like you were driving a tank most of the time. But oh my god, that game was so good.
Yeah, I can see it now. I'm watching gameplay, and yeah, I remember seeing this, and I was just even at the ripe old age of 15 when this came out, I was like, blasphemy, burn it.
Yeah, but having played Tomb Raider, like I basically played this right after I played the original Tomb Raider, and my whole thing with it was, well, at least I'm not having to do the weird, awkward, like try to move forward and left at the same time thing that was always so difficult to do, because the D-pad on the PS1 controller was shit.
Oh,
Let's be honest, it was
separate
not
buttons
good.
And yeah, it's now it's way better, of course. The spacing between the different
well, and everything that requires you to move around in a 3D space uses the dual sticks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you would never do that anyways. Yeah, it's funny. I'm holding my PS4 remote right now, and I'm pushing on it like up left, and I'm like, wow, I don't think I've ever done that on this controller. Mm-hmm. You just don't. There's no reason to.
There's no reason to. Yeah. Man.
Controllers sure have come a long way.
Controllers and the 90s have come a long way.
I was actually thinking the other day, I was playing Dirt Rally, and I was using my Xbox 360 controller, and while I was racing, so the game requires like some intense focus sometimes, right, for like long periods of time. And so you're focusing, but your mind's also kind of wandering. And I'm sitting there, vroom, flying around corners, and all this stuff. And then I'm like, the Xbox 360 controller must be the greatest controller of our generation. Like it's so perfect.
It's so good.
It's so perfect. It's like a standard. Like I feel like everybody owns a freaking 360 controller, because you can plug it in your PC, or you use it on your Xbox if you wanted to. But it's cheap and
honestly, it's better than the Xbox One controller. Like,
oh god,
the Xbox One controller, it's not bad. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're thinking, Xbone. I don't know what I was thinking.
No.
Classic. I was like, what? I was like, yes, of course.
No, the original Xbox controller. Oh man. Okay. If we're talking about the original Xbox, I actually have an original Xbox that's sitting right behind me right now.
Oh, okay.
And I have. Hang on. I'm gonna just grab this controller real quick.
Okay, wait. You do that. Hold on a second. I'm gonna grab one of mine.
Okay. I have the controller S. It's not the original Xbox controller. This is the controller S, which is the it was the holy shit we fucked up controller that they came out with. And all it really did was, for some reason they have these two slots on the back of the thing that I don't even know what the hell you were supposed to, memory cards, I guess, went in the back of the controller S. So it's super bulky. And then you have your A, B, X, Y buttons, and then the white and black buttons, because they thought that was a good idea, under your thumb almost. And this controller isn't the worst. It doesn't have shoulder buttons. There were some third-party versions that actually moved the shoulder buttons, or moved the white and black buttons up to the shoulder buttons. But this controller wasn't too bad. The original Xbox controller, which is like this giant boat of a controller, that was not good. That was massive, and I used to get cramps just trying to hold it and play like Mech Assault or something.
It's because the Xbox logo was huge.
Yeah.
It was like a banner advertisement.
Yeah, I have to look up. I actually got rid of all of my original Xbox controllers, but I'm gonna look one up on the Googles. Holy hell, yeah, that thing was so big. Like, I'm actually looking at one right now that's like sitting next to a controller S. Holy hell. And like, if you wanted to, so A, the sticks were weird. Mm-hmm. B, in order to hold on to it, like, you needed hands the size of Mars. And the white and black buttons were like so far up to the side that if you ever wanted to push either of them, like, good luck. And now I wish I still had one of those controllers.
But for what even? Like, just
so that I could,
factor?
so that when I eventually reproduce and I have kids and they're playing video games and they get mad at the controller, I can be like, no, you are not allowed to get mad at controllers.
What is the worst controller that you have ever used?
Worst controller that I've ever used. Ouya. The
Ouya
controller. The Ouya controller itself, like, it doesn't actually look too bad. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of awkward. The problem with the Ouya controller is that it's done through really shitty Android Bluetooth. So it's completely unresponsive and kind of garbage. And also, in order to put, like, you have to tear off the sides of it in order to put batteries into it.
Yep.
Which is really weird.
Tear out the faceplate.
Yeah.
Or face plates, basically where your palms like rest on the top.
Yeah. The other controller that I would list as one of the worst controllers is the original TurboGrafx controller.
Wait, I think I remember this one.
It had 1 and 2 buttons instead of like A and B or
yes.
Well, A and B basically.
Yes, it was like a really, really shitty Nintendo controller.
Yeah, exactly. And the big problem with it was the same shape as, it's basically a rectangle. It's basically the same shape as a Nintendo controller. The problem is the buttons are in like the bottom right corner of it. So like you're cramping your thumb the entire time actually trying to push these buttons because they're in a completely nonsensical position.
Yeah. The worst one. So wait, going back on the Ouya thing. One of the problems I had with my Ouya controller
is there weren't any games to play with it.
Yeah, there was that. I'm so glad I sold that thing when I did.
I still have mine. I'm not gonna sell a $100 console. I'm gonna hold on to that to remind myself of my terrible life choices.
But I sold it for $100, so I kind of got my money back.
It's worth $100 to keep the reminder, I think.
There you go. The buttons they would get stuck because the holes they were not big enough to. So like if you sit there and mash, like button mashing something, all of a sudden the button does come back up because it's jammed underneath. You have to like push it to the side so it can unlock itself.
Yeah. Also, just quietly, it has a Y button which is in the right spot, but because they wanted to make the buttons be O, U, Y, and A, because Ouya. The A button is where the circle button should be, and the circle button is where the A button should be.
Yep.
So whenever I'm doing anything on the Ouya, and it's like, oh yeah, press circle, I'm like, A. By the way, my story of whenever I'm doing anything on the Ouya is limited to the one time I did anything on the Ouya.
Mm-hmm. So I have 2 controllers that are like the worst for me. One of them was the 6-button Sega Genesis controller.
I have one of those too.
I realized it was for like fighting games, but after it never really felt right for me, right? I didn't really need the extra buttons. They were just turbo buttons basically. But still, just having the 3 buttons side by side, it just felt kind of funky, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, and you know, it's like it was the worst. I mean, everyone has a redeeming quality. You know, like I had the second Xbox Classic controllers. I didn't have the first one that had the gigantic faceplate on it. Yeah. So I kind of dodged a bullet there.
You had the controller S.
I had a Dreamcast. Even the Dreamcast controller wasn't that bad.
No, it really wasn't.
It wasn't that bad. And it had the little Tamagotchi thingy, whatever you put in it. Whatever that thing's called. You could feed it every day or something. But so that wasn't that bad. For some reason, like I just remember when I think of just shitty controller, I hated that controller. The 6-button controller. The other one is for my first console. It's the Intellivision. You're gonna have to look this up. The Intellivision.
I had an Intellivision. I had an Intellivision. I'd forgotten, like, I hadn't even considered that in the realm of shitty controllers. But holy shit, did that controller suck.
I'm so glad we're on the same page.
That was the fucking worst.
I had to explain this controller to a buddy of mine. We were at GDC, and he works in the games industry, and he's young. He's like 21 or something, right? And he wasn't even alive when this thing was like hot, you know? It was never hot, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, we were going to the classic. There's like a classic retro game console like museum or something like that, and I'm walking around like I'm so pissed because I didn't see it. And he's like, "Well, what's the big deal about this?" I was like, "Dude, it's the controller. Like it had all the same. It had Pitfall, it had Pac-Man, it had Tron Deadly Disc, and Tron Light Cycles. It had all the same games." It's just had the worst controller you've ever seen ever. And
it's so bad.
If you're listening right now, open up a browser and
Google search this.
Intellivision, Intellivision game console. And go right to images. It looks like a TV remote.
Seriously. Like, imagine that you're attempting to play any video game ever, but you're playing it from a cell phone that was made in 1942.
The disc that's on it, it's a tilt disc. So imagine
it's basically an analog stick but shitty.
Yeah, exactly. You tilt it in the directions you want to move, and the number pad is there for just to basically have buttons, so generic
in
buttons.
Case you need to make a phone call.
But it's funny because it actually, for a console in its generation, I guess, it actually had a lot of buttons because each one of those would be could have a separate function.
Yep.
So if you look in the images, if you're looking at Google Images right now, and you pull up, there are like these little cards. You see like Pac-Man, Burger Time, Centipede, all that stuff.
Yep.
These cards you would slide into the top of the controller, like it would slide in and cover the number pad, and essentially every game would come with two of these cards to put inside of the controllers, so that you could see what the buttons do.
Yeah. Yeah, because they weren't going to be like, okay, press 1 to throw a baseball, press 2 to lick a baseball or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was just like, okay, you slide this thing over top of it. Oh my God, Space Battle. I used to play Space Battle all the time. And it would be like, send your blue guys to attack, send your blue guys to base, send your blue guys to group up. Send your white guys to base, send your white guys to group up, and so on. Use your radar. Alert everyone of an alien. I don't know. I don't even remember how Space Battle even worked. Oh, man. I had so many of these games, too. Like, this is my childhood right here. And the worst fucking part of this, I'm angry about this shitty-ass controller and these cards, is that inevitably the tips of the cards would get bent slightly because they're made of this weird ass plastic. Like I've never seen, I worked at a plastics recycler for like 5 years and I have never seen plastic like this ever since. It was some sort of weird ass plastic that as you were trying to slide it into over top of the like number pad on the controller, inevitably like the edges of it would get bent and then it would never slide in there ever again. Yeah. So you would just sit there with the controller in one hand and this card in the other and like just looking at the card, poking the number on the number pad that corresponds to where you should be poking.
And we haven't even mentioned the 4 buttons that are on the sides.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had to hold it a certain way in order to do this. So it's like you're holding It's like holding a remote control like you normally would, but you have buttons on the side, kind of like you would if you're holding your iPhone, right? Or whatever phone you have that has buttons on the side and you're hitting those buttons, the volume buttons or the on-off buttons or whatever. It's just like that. But the home button would be the directional pad, but it tilts. And then you would have to hit numbers on the screen in order to do other things. And then, of course, it has a coiled cord.
Yeah.
So, like, if you go too far, it'll start to, like, pull the console off the TV.
Yeah.
You couldn't even... Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My God. Yeah, I had it in television when I was a kid, and then a bunch of rats filled it full of dog food. So that was weird. But then it stopped working after that.
That sounds like that would do it. That would do it in right there.
I remember playing Pitfall on that thing.
Yeah, buddy. Ugh.
And completely not understanding the game at all because I was like 4. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was hilarious that if I walked up to a log, my dude squatted down and made a pooping sound. And in reality, I was losing points. And so the sound was like, in like, you're losing points. But what it looked like was my dude was taking a shit. You're not supposed to touch the logs. Even the ones that don't move, you're not supposed to touch them.
That game, man. That game was awesome. That game was hard.
Baseball. Remember when video games could be called their subject matter because no one else had made a game about it before?
Yeah, you're right.
So, like, there was a game on in television called Baseball.
And there were no exclusives.
No.
That's why I was saying, like, this console had everything that everybody else had. The 2600 had the same games, and because all of these games were arcade games basically, that they just made work on console. They did a port.
I'm like looking through the cards that go into this controller. Man. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Treasure of Tarman cartridge.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just gonna read off what the buttons were. Because, like, okay, you now have this console that has, like, 14 buttons on it. And this is what you use them for, okay? 1 is both pick up and drop. It had to do double duty because there wasn't space for it. Because you needed to have 2 for swap hands, 3 for rotate pack, 4 was open, 5 was use, 6 was swap pack, 7 was attack, 8 was rest. 9 was use ladder.
Wait. 7 was attack and 8 was rest?
Yeah. So don't fuck that up.
Wow. How do you make an already shitty controller shittier?
Yeah, exactly. Then there was glance left, retreat, and glance right. You'll use the disc to set your direction, and then the side buttons, 2 of the side buttons were both mapped to the castle map. One of them was mapped to count food, and the other was mapped to count arrows.
They ran out of shit. That's the problem. They ran out of important stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I still had that thing. I would totally find a way to fire that up again.
You would need like an RF adapter.
You really would. Like I have my Genesis that I want to fire up again at some point too, because I have the original Sonic the Hedgehog for it. But I'm gonna need to find some sort of way to make that work with anything modern.
Yeah, I have a Genesis sitting here collecting dust too, and Toe Jam and Earl. And
man.
Yeah, I don't have a power supply for it. I know it works. I mean, these things never die.
Yeah,
I know it works. Oh man, so Tron Deadly Discs. This is the game that I played the most of. This and this Burger Time and Pitfall I played the most of. Tron Deadly Disc was basically, it throws you in an arena, and it just throws like, here comes another character that has a disc and it comes at you, whatever. And then after you kill a couple of these guys, they send a recognizer after you. And recognizers are stupidly hard because your character moves slow as balls. There's probably a video or something somewhere, but the character moves so slow, and the way that you move, this is like old school twin stick technology here, guys. You move using the disc, right? the touch disc at the bottom of the controller. But you throw the disc using the numbers. So 1, 2, 3 is like up, left, up, and up, right. Okay. 5 and 7, 4 and 6 are like left and right. 5 is center is block. Right. You get the gist. You know. Now picture yourself how you're supposed to hold this controller and use these discs, like throw the discs and everything. Like you are moving and also hitting the buttons at the top of the controller. How are you supposed to lay it flat on on your table or something in order to properly do this? It doesn't make any sense. I actually found it easier to when I was a kid. I found it easier to flip the controller over and just memorize and get used to the fact that I'm throwing things backwards or whatever, and play like that because that's the only thing that made sense to me. But damn. Fuck this game. I don't want. All the nostalgia's gone. I don't want this thing anymore.
Yeah, I found an awesome picture as I'm just scrolling through the Google image search. It's a picture of the Intellivision controller next to a picture of the Steam controller, and it just says "history repeating." Yes. Because it has the 2 like touch discs on it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Although I will say, after having used that Steam controller, I can't remember what they settled on, but that one, it feels a lot better than the television. The television one, it was like, it actually tilted up to like 45 degrees. So you're really tilting this thing, all over the place to get it to go anywhere. Ugh.
Oh man, I just keep finding things as I'm scrolling through this. Do you remember the touchpad controllers for like the Genesis and the NES and the Super Nintendo?
I'll have to look on a second. Touchpad, SNES.
It's called Turbo Touch 360 for the Genesis.
Oh yes, I had one of these. Yes.
Yeah, and their like advertisement was no more numb thumb because apparently people were making their thumbs numb from holding down the D-pad somehow.
Oh God.
And it was like, oh, now it's just a touchpad. You just touch, and you don't have to push super hard. But if my cell phone is any indication, as I'm playing Trials on it, I'm convinced at some point I'm going to squeeze my cell phone and it's just going to crack under the pressure of me holding. I don't need to push harder on this. There's no benefit in pushing harder on this button, but god damn it, when I need to go fast, I am smashing that button down.
Yeah, I remember this controller was terrible because it was so sensitive.
Yeah.
That
it was like you could breathe on it funny and it would think you were doing shit.
Yeah, exactly, and it would move you in whatever direction that is. It just, I think that I remember playing Mortal Kombat with it, and it worked for Mortal Kombat. But anything else that required like any extreme position, like a platformer or anything like that, or even like a racer, it was just like, nah, forget it.
Yeah,
did not work.
Yeah. So that was a whole lot of nostalgia.
Flashbacks. Yeah.
Someone apparently converted an Intellivision controller to USB.
Some people want to watch the world burn.
Apparently.
There is no gain. There is nothing you could do.
Yeah, no one wants this.
You convert old Nintendo controllers and SNES controllers to USB because you want to use them for games.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything with an Intellivision controller.
Man, no one...
Is that your numpad?
No one under the age of like 29 gives a shit about anything we've said for the past 45 minutes.
Hey, you know what though? Hopefully hopefully you guys are Google searching along with us.
Yeah.
And kind of following along in the adventure here.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of Trials Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
You apparently hit some of the hard tracks in Trials Frontier.
I did. I hit one before, but this one definitely blows the other one away. Because it actually, the first thing it has is a log wheel hook. You don't have to hook it. You can actually kind of float your way over it by like left, right, real fast. But it's straight up a hook, and then there's also like 3 like stilts across a pit you have to like hit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, it's like, and it's such an extreme jump too. Like I was doing all the tracks, everything's kind of like, okay, super easy stuff. It's just casual mode, right? And then all of a sudden,
Stilted
this track.
Path. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that one got me. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one's moderately difficult. Have you unlocked the like extra weird island yet?
Not yet.
Okay, as soon as it gives you the option to buy the extra weird island, you need to pick that up. I don't care how much you have to spend on it. You need to pick that up, and you need to go straight to Melancholy Temple.
Okay.
And hate your life.
Okay.
Like, it is so hard.
Oh man, there's
really, really good tracks on that extra island. And actually, the later tracks, there's a couple of later tracks in the whole bunch of new ones they just came out with. The like Frost Apocalypse ones.
Yeah.
A couple of the later tracks are actually really good too.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up because I realize there's only like a few days left to get all that stuff or whatever, and I'm trying to get as much of that stuff done, collect all the sticks and all the magnifying glasses and all that shit, and so it's like yeah. So I'm unlocking stuff. I actually almost have maxed out 2 of the bikes, the 2 first bikes you get. I know you told me not to do one of them, and I forget which ones. I just did both.
The first 2 bikes, the Tango and the Armadillo, you want to max out.
Okay, I think those are the 2. Yeah.
You want to max out the Armadillo because then you get cheaper upgrades on everything else. If you buy there's an outfit that you can buy once you have maxed out the Armadillo that gives you cheaper upgrades on everything else.
Oh. You have to be wearing it in order to get it?
No, all of the outfits give you the benefit. You just have to own the complete outfit.
Nice. Okay.
And then the Tango is one that you will use for every single 5 fuel track ever.
Okay.
I'm gonna race your ghost on Stilted Path right now.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I should go back and do it again because I finally got it down where I can make it almost the entire way, and then I'm downstairs. We're watching the game, except we're watching this Giants game, but I'm playing, and I get almost through the entire track, and it's a super easy jump, like halfway through, and someone hits it almost out of the park or something, and I was like, shit, I'm trying to play it, like it's all loud, and I'm like, yeah, so I ended up like crashing 3 times on that, but yeah, I got down like 6 faults on that one, but I could definitely see myself fairly easily like just getting down to like maybe 2 or 3. The last jump is the hardest jump that I've seen so far in the game. So far, of course. You're not gonna do it right now, dude.
So far, I've just bashed my face into this first pole a whole bunch. I'm trying to do something fancy here, and it's not working out. Well, all right. This could take a while.
You gotta float it, man. Wiggle, wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle, yeah. If only I could fap.
Yep. It's kind of hard.
But yeah, there was another thing we were going to talk about. I don't remember what it was now.
Well, I made a BFF report-ish thing.
Oh yeah, that was what we were going to talk about. The Dirt Rally game.
Yep.
That actually looks really good.
It is. It is and it isn't. So I want to be totally honest. It is not an easy game, and it's not a game that's going to hold your hand. Like some of these races could actually be like upwards of 8 or 9 minutes long, and if you fly off the edge because you didn't hear a call correctly or you weren't paying attention, and you wreck your car, like it just basically, if you go off hard enough, it will just basically be like, oh, you totaled your car. You have to restart the race from the beginning. There's no checkpoints. There's no rewind. There's no take 2. It's just, oh, you wrecked your car. You're done. And you only get to do that a couple times in a series of races. So if you have to restart, you lose money, first of all. You get like a bonus for not, like $7,500 or something like that for not having to restart a track. And every time you do, you lose like $1,500 or something like that. So if you run out of those, I'm guessing it just do not finish and you're just done. And you end up losing out on any money that you could have possibly earned. So if you're like 5 tracks deep and struggling and you end up flying off a cliff, then that's it. All of the previous work is just done and you earn nothing. Good day, sir. It's over. But it is a super fun and challenging game. It definitely requires focus. And it's very easy for me to switch from that to like trials, because it's kind of like that, it's that same, just, it's challenging you. Like, you know that you could go faster. You know that you could do better. You know you could do it in fewer faults, It's got to keep pushing yourself. But yeah, it's super punishing, and a lot of people will actually also not like it because of that. There's plenty of things to do, plenty of things to unlock. I've unlocked a handful of cars so far and gone through a bunch of tracks. I think that some of the stuff they're going to be adding later on is really going to add to the entire experience of the game. But yeah, so the BFF report-ish thing I thought was the most interesting part, like actually creating it, because I have not done that in a long time. The whole like editing and doing the VO and all that stuff. Like, it'd been a while, and
yeah,
I train Lindsay, our brand ambassador. She does the videos for ZAM. I actually trained her on some of the basically some of the things that I've learned, like in video editing and whatnot. And I showed that to her, and I was all, yes, still got it. See, I can still do this. And we basically said it was neat because it was something that I've been talking about how it's done and teaching how it's done to various people. And it's just basic editing and just flow and rhythm and how to kind of break that VO and video like barrier to show that it's not just VO on top of like random B-roll, But anyways, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it, and it took a while to do, of course, because there's a lot of footage to get and everything. But still, I was able to bang it out in like an evening, so I'll probably maybe do a couple more. People liked it. The stand-up part is probably not gonna happen because that's a lot of time. Gotta comb my hair. Gotta put clothes on.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Green screen. That's a lot of work.
You should check Twitter.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, you should check Twitter.
Oh my God.
It still took me 3 faults.
You're a dick.
I am.
You are a dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notice how in this particular screenshot you can see you in the left, like trying to actually make it to the finish line, and I'm already finished it. Yeah.
Wow, wait a minute. I'm right there, and you beat my time you beat your time by 11 seconds.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
Also, like, I had been through, like, once this screen actually comes up, I'd been through the finish line for a while.
It sucks. I can't take screenshots on my Shield unless I disable the oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, they added another feature. I forgot. Right? Can I do this? Oh, nope. Yeah, no screenshots. So the way you take screenshots is like your home button and something else, right? So that doesn't work when you have the gamepad mapper on. So when I beat your score, I'll be taking a picture of the screen using my phone and sending it to you that way, because this is 2015 and the technology's not here for me to take screenshots on my Shield with gamepad activated. You're a dick. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll fix that.
Okay. I look forward to it.
It's gonna be like this ongoing showdown. 0.25%, top 0.1%.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'm actually watching someone do this. Someone who, by the way, is their text is all in Japanese, but I'm watching a YouTube video of someone doing that track, and it's like they make it look so easy, but it's not even a little bit easy.
No.
Also, this person has 149,000 gold. Why don't they upgrade their bikes? Jesus.
He probably has everything maxed out.
Probably.
He's been maxing, dude. He's got one bike he knows is the best. That's all he cares about.
Yeah.
That's it.
I need to make
and it's a donkey.
I need to make friggin' Trials Frontier videos. I should do that.
Do it.
Not right now, but I should do it at some point.
Do it right now.
Fine.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yep.
All I'm thinking about now is going and beating that time. That's all that's on my mind. Podcast is over. We're done.
Yeah.
I need to go do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drink some water.
Yep.
I need to go sit on a toilet for the entire experience. I don't even need to shit or anything. I just need to sit on a toilet. So I'm comfortable. I'm in my space,
Yeah.
my zone.
That's where the magic happens.
Knock this out, damn it.
The best part about playing Trials while you're on the toilet is when you get really, really frustrated at it, you can just shit.